to sew our signatures into our cover. What we're going to need is a needle with a big eye, and it kind of has a blunt end to it. It goes nicely into the fabric and to the paper. You can use hemp for tying your signatures. You've got the wax cord. I'm just going to use some embroidery thread that I use to sew my buttons on with. I've made my little template where I have put a hole in the center. I've got a piece of paper here that is cut to the size of my paper, my signature. So I'm going to go down a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch, find the center, and then make a couple extra holes. They're all evenly spaced out. This one's about 1 inch. It will depend on the size of your book. Find the center of your signature. Now, making sure when you have other pieces of paper in here that are smaller, that you get at least 1 hole. So that's my only page that's smaller on this first signature. Mark it, making sure I've got them right in the center. See our holes there? I like using these disappearing ink pens. I need a nice long piece, a good yard. We don't need to put a knot on it. We're going to punch the center hole. Now, sometimes it takes a little effort to get that hole punched in there, leaving a nice long tail. Got my template. Mark my holes, making sure it stays right in. We'll have everything ready to start sewing. Your signature is sewed in, your first signature. Now you're going to want to loop this way and tie a knot, making sure your embroidery thread is nice and taut. I'm going to leave some nice long links because I like to tie some charms on the end of it, like my initials, so I can have those on mine. I've also got a few different things that have to do with traveling, because I'm going to go bike riding and I'm going to take the plane. So you can use some different things and tie on to each signature. But I'm going to wait and do that after I get the next signature sewed in. On to signature 2. I already have it all punched. Want to make sure I get it going the correct direction. And you're going to butt it right up against the previous one. Let's string our thread and get started. Getting your first signature in and getting it straight is probably the trickiest. So we've got our thread going through all the layers of the signature, coming out the back side. Lined up, we're going to go right to the center of where that previous hole was, right beside it. 1/4 inch will work. Pull your thread through, making sure you don't pull it so tight that you pull it all the way through. Okay, now we're going to go up by the next hole, go over and punch in. Up through. Holes already punched. And right through we go. Back down through the next one. sure those pages are all lined up or it just doesn't go through very nicely. And we know we've got our line right there. We'll go over 1/4 of an inch. Make sure it looks good on the other side. And pull through. Pulling tight on both ends. Come up to the next one. 1/4 of an inch over. Through and through. Pull tight. Back down through, making sure that you go through the same hole that you were, because now you're going to be filling in this side and back through on that side. This takes a little bit of practice to get your stitches straight and get it all lined up and the way you want it. But let's get it all sewed in first. Back up through all of our signatures. Tighten it every few times. Making sure everything's lined up. Tight, back down through, going through the exact hole that you went down previous. Keeps a nice running stitch straight through. Okay, we've got our stitching for our signature 2 all in. Under this piece, tie your knot. Like leaving various links of my thread, my embroidery thread, so I can tie my charms. Okay, we're on to tying in signature 3. By now you're getting this figured out and it's a little bit easier. I've added another little piece here to tie the colors in. We've got our signatures. It lays down nice and flat. We've got our variety of sizes of paper, and it opens nicely. We're going to put some charms on the end of our thread so they just hang out just right at the bottom of your journal. We'll go in and add our tags back in because I took some of the tags out for I could sew it easier. Put our pieces in. Got our tissue paper. Kind of can see through it on both sides. Lovely.